My life is what it is. Short version, I was raised in Boston. I came here as an infant in my innocence. I was brought to Boston by Carrie L. Davis and her husband John Davis to their home at Elmo Park on Elmo Street, Roxbury, Mass. After about 1 year and some months the house burned down. I was burnt on the arm as a baby in that fire. We stayed with my mother's first cousin until the house was paid for by the insurance. Then they purchased a new home in 1964 on Seaver St. and we lived there for the majority of my life until I became a young adult. I was taken at first to Florida, then sent by plane to spend summers with my grandparents and who I thought was my aunt and cousins every summer from the age of 10. My father died from lung cancer when I was the age of 6½ years. I would go and stay with my grandparents, and what I thought was my auntie and cousin lived about 3 to 4 blocks away from my grandfolks' home in Florida. So, one summer I was about 12 or 13 years old. I was around by my cousin's house playing, and one of my cousin began teasing me while playing stickball with grapefruits from a small grapefruit tree in Florida one summer. He said, "You don't even know who your mother is." I looked at him a laugh and said, "Sure I do, she's in Boston." He laughs and said, "No she ain't, she is sitting on the porch right over there." I laughed because it was his mother who I thought was my auntie sitting there. Needless to say that bothered me. So at the end of my stay I flew back to Boston. I began questioning my mother about that. I can't remember if before I left if I questioned my grandmother. My grandparents also held that secret from me. I know I never asked who I thought was my aunt if what he who I thought was my cousin was saying was true. I kept harassing my mother at the end of that summer about what he said, and she sat me down tired of me questioning her because she never denied it. When I was at the age of 10 years old, she brought an infant home and adopted him. So at the time of this incident, he, my new brother, was a part of our lives, maybe 2 or 3 at the time. I am 10 years older than him. So, one day after I wouldn't stop questioning my mother, she broke it down and told me part of the truth in a way I did still not completely understand. One of my older siblings was living in Boston with us. I called him my brother and still did not completely comprehend. After my brothers and sisters, not cousin, began explaining things to me, I discovered I had 8 biological brother and 5 biological sisters. I was the 11th child born. Who I thought was my mother could not have children. When she came to Florida when I was born and begged to take me back with her to Boston, and as of doing that, she had my birth records made out in her and her husband's name as a Davis. I was the 2nd child born in Sebring, Florida hospital. My sister was the first to not be born, though a midwife at home. So, my aunt and uncle names were placed on my birth certificate. I became Eric S. Davis, son of John and Carrie L. Davis. Biologically, my mother's name is Essie Mae Williams and my father's name is Victor Heron. My biological father died in 1964. John Davis, who begins to raise me, died in 1969. So, you see, I lived a huge part of my earlier years confused and in denial about my true existence. I had to work on many areas of my life. I wrote an autobiography during treatment in the program as a requirement. The program's requirement was to write an autobiography no less than 7 pages that end up over 15 pages. It was the first real assessment I ever sat down and did of self. Most of my life was lived in denial. I accepted things for what and how it existed. My maternal sister was born 11 months before me. She was the one that put me in touch with the truth and broke it down for me. The brother that teased me and said your mother is sitting on the porch right there was Victor. Maternal meaning we shared both same mother and father together. There were 5 of us that Victor Heron took part in creating, and he named his oldest of the 5 with his name Victor, and I was the youngest child born. So you see, Victor knew the truth and perhaps felt it was time to tell me the truth. I remain mad at him for a long time. I had a chance to make amends with him and let him know I forgave him, and he asked for forgiveness also one day. I am today grateful for his courage of being honest with me when no one else would, not even the older brother that lived with Carrie and John Davis in Boston with me. Although my mother had 3 more children after me. Now Carrie Davis I still call Ma, is my biological auntie who raised me, so she still deserves the title Ma. She raised me. I loved my biological mother and father because they simply gave me life, so I honor them. My biological mother was considered a tough cookie, I'm told, by the rest of my siblings, never so much as said a harsh word to me ever, and later in life we built a relationship. I never ever asked why and didn't want to know why. I was just grateful to have 2 mothers. Eventually they both perished away. My biological mother in 2015 and the one who raised me in 2017. Through the work I did surrounding my character defects and shortcomings, I was able to come to peace with my insane thinking I chose as a way of life of self-destruction. Today I came to peace with how my life went. I am at peace with myself through finding acceptance for the reality of my life and who and what I made of my life. No, I don't have a lot and I did not become wealthy. Maybe I didn't accomplish all I wished for. But I was able to raise my daughter and stay clean to correct my self-destructive selfish mentality in time enough to become a better example to those that came after me. My amends to my family was to do better by self and others thereafter. I was never told by my family that they were proud of who I became until the day I saw myself who that I became in light of my ancestors and the God of my understanding. Since then I with confidence was able to say it to myself. That was proof of self-acceptance. Today I live not the past but the here and now with no regrets. I discovered that all I ever wanted was peace. I searched high and low for it. To discover it was in me all the time. Silly me, I kept looking outside of myself for it. In people, places, and things. A dead spirit will find no peace, but an alive spirit can find joy but does not hold on to it unless you learn how to maintain it. Notice when it is descending and begin healing it before it completely dies. Once again, a dead spirit helps no one, especially the person that possesses it. So, learning to keep your spirit maintained and finding a way to change your perspectives on life to positive can help with a person healing process if a person come from adversity and trauma. In order for that to take place, we must gain a more realistically way of seeing and dealing with the realities of life. My life is by far not perfect nor the greatest example of how to live. Today it is just simply livable. I don't expect to live up to no one's expectation, and I stopped believing I had to have a mate to be considered whole. Yes, like most I have a passion and would love to have a mate, and I need people in my life. I know I can't do it alone. So, I accept family where they are at, and I accept who I consider extended family on the same level. Friends and acquaintances pretty much the same level. I expect nothing from anyone more than just being themselves. I trust in G.O.D.S process and the intuition instilled in me by the spiritual connection to my ancestors. God. I trust. I love my people unconditionally, but I don't necessarily like their ways. I love myself, so it is possible to love another for me. I'm telling this story because of the complete turnaround of thinking. I want to make it clear I have found acceptance for my life, and today I wanted others to know if I can do it, so can't they? To live your life in pain, hatred, resentment toward what you made of a choice with life is just that. A choice. If you no longer live in certain situations and the trauma does not still exist, it very well may be a choice to continue holding on to it. It is okay to heal from painful trauma.